Hi crafty folks, Amy here, and today I have a clean and simple layered stencil Christmas card idea to share with you. So to jump right in, I'm going to show you the new stencil that I'm using. This is called the Layered Holly Wreath Stencil. It is from A Colorful Life Designs. It comes in 2 pieces, really easy to use, really easy to line up, and it's great for batching holiday or Christmas cards if you need to make a bunch of them. So I also have a card base here. It's A2 size, 110-pound Neenah Classic Crest. I have my beloved blending brushes from the Rabbit Hole Designs, and I have Zen Garden and Urban Oasis mini ink pads from Catherine Pooler. And I am going to take the Rouge from one set and the Spruce from another, just to have kind of traditional Christmas colors here. So you can just use one color. You can absolutely use multiple colors for the design. But here are a couple photos of the finished card. You can see, other than the dimension for the little blingage, holly berries, and leaves, it is single layer. I'm working directly on the card base. It'll be nice and flat, easy to ship, which is what we want for our holiday cards, right? So here I have a stamp set. I haven't used it yet. It's called Merriest Sentiments. They're really big and kind of fun fonts, and it's from Catherine Pooler. So to start, I have my Wendy Vecchi station tool, and I'm using magnets to hold down this very first layer of the leaves directly on my card base. Now I am going heavier handed in spots and lighter handed in spots, and this is giving me kind of a gradient in the color. So it's making it look maybe like it has some visual interest in the design, but it's really only just using that one single ink pad color. So something like this is a good idea if you don't have a lot of inks. Just think in terms of using different pressure when you're ink blending to get a nice variation in gradient. So I'm going to remove the magnets and pull this back, and I'm sitting there looking at it like, wow, this looks like little bats. So I could get some mileage out of this and be creative and use it for a Halloween card as well. So bear that in mind. Think about different ways that you can use the products that you have in your crafty stash and figure out different ways that you can use them to really kind of take advantage and stretch your supplies. So here I'm lining up the berries layer. It's really easy to do. I'm just making sure the berries are nestled right in with the leaves. And I'm going to use the magnets again to hold it down. And then I'm going to come in with my red blending brush and this Rouge color just to kind of do the same thing. Heavier handed in spots, lighter handed in others. This ink pad was really juicy, so you got to be a little careful. Make sure you don't overdo it. I thought I got under the stencil for a minute there on a couple of them, but it ended up looking okay. So once I'm done ink blending that layer, easy peasy, I just pull back the magnets, and then this part of the design is finished. So now I'm going to open up this new stamp set, and I have my mini Misty here. I have the card base loaded right up in it and held down. I have it nestled in that lower right corner in case I need to stamp it again. That's the beauty of the Misty or other stamp positioners. If you don't get a good impression the first time, you can absolutely do it again. And you can see this is a brand new stamp, really sticky. It's wanting to stick to my fingers, so I get it lined up where I want it in the center of this composition, and then I'm going to pick it up with my Misty door and condition it with my hand, just because I haven't used the stamp before. So this will get off any manufacturer's goo off of the clear stamp, just so you get a nice even impression. And you will see I'm going to flip this around just so I can see on the white part of my craft mat where I'm inking, just to make sure I've got the full stamp covered. Now I will press this down, and I have my press tool from Tailored Expressions just to get nice even pressure all the way across this stamp, and if I need to do it again, I absolutely can. Now I'm feeling that it's looking a little plain, so I decided to get my Sakura white gel pen. This is in the size 10, and then I just draw little highlights on the right side of all the berries. So it looks like it might be time consuming, but I promise it isn't, and it really does add so much visual interest to the design, just to add little tiny design features like this just to really amp up your card. So I'm working all the way around, trying to go from right to left because I am a left-handed person. I'm a southpaw, and I tend to drag my hand right over and make a mess of things. So just moving that around, and then I decide I want to add some interest also to the stamp in the center. So I'm going to do polka dots on some of the words, leave some of the words plain, and then even stripes on the other. So here I just have some scrap paper. If you've worked with white gel pens, you know they can kind of get clogged up a little bit. So just trying to kind of scribble a little bit and get the ink flowing again, but putting polka dots all over the word jingle, and then I'll put some stripes on the word all, and then I think I leave the blank, or maybe vice versa, I don't remember, I know I leave one of the words blank. Oh yeah, I put the stripes on the, and then polka dots again on the bottom word. So if you're feeling that your card is maybe looking a little bit too plain, then maybe think in terms of, okay, blingage. You could add some embellishment, or maybe round the corners with a corner chopper, or you could do some ink splatter. If you have some, metallic watercolor, maybe some black watercolor, and add some splatter. I am going to add blingage here. This is my storage solution right now for a lot of my little blends that I got from Doodle's Paper Playground. If you're not familiar, it's another small woman-owned business, and she makes these amazing sparkle blends, which are great for shaker cards, but also for embellishment, as you'll see I'm about to use. Now that bottom column, or the column all the way to the right rather, is all Christmas sets that I recently got from her shop. So I will link her shop in the video description box below. Be sure to check her out. She has a shop on Etsy, and she just has so many of these cool creative blends to choose from. So I decided to grab one of these big holly leaves and then 3 of the really glittery sequins that are in the mix, to use those as the berries, just because I felt like it was still looking a little bit plain. So I am going to lay this down with some liquid glue, and then I realize I don't think it's going to hold it very well, and I'm not patient enough to wait for it. So I tried to weigh it down originally with a block, but I did decide to come in and just use these little tiny foam dots instead. Just that way I could be sure that it would stay down, and then also give it a little bit of dimension and add a little something special to the card. So I put a couple of these little pop dots behind the berry, and then I'm going to glue down 2 of these little sequins around it, and then pop up one of them as well, so it's kind of evenly lined up with the dimension on the leaves. So it does kind of stick out a little bit. I probably could have cut it in half, but I don't really mind. I think it looks fine. So that's all the same dimension right there between that one berry and the 2 leaves. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue just to attach the other 2 berries right on top of the leaves, so they'll just kind of be flush and even dimension. So that's nice and finished on the front of the card here. The glue is still a little bit wet at this point, but it did dry up fine, and they did stay stuck together. But I decided it needs one more little design feature. So here's my corner chomper. I'm on the 1/2 inch side. There's one side that's 1/4 inch and one side that's 1/2 inch, and I decided to do opposing corners just to give it a little something else. But overall, still very clean and simple, very easy to mass produce. You can jazz it up or leave it be, whatever you want to do. But I hope it gives you some inspiration. Be sure to check out the rest of the release at A Colorful Life Designs. There's so many cool stencils this month. So use my coupon, save some loot, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.